It's Ron Reader digs the universe. I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe, and tonight, in these troubled times, my hair. I'm aware some stare at my hair. In fact, to be fair, some really despair of my hair. But I don't care, 'cause they're not aware, nor are they debonair. In fact, they're just square. That's the first stanza of George Carlin's Hair poem, which he started performing in the early 70s when the comedian consciously changed his traditional guy in a suit look to an image he felt would take him in more of a Lenny Bruce style counterculture direction. And a big part of that image change was growing his hair. It's very difficult to overestimate the profound effect that men growing out their hair starting in the 1960s had on this country. I mean, obviously long hair very quickly moved from being simply a counterculture thing to being a pop culture thing. Musicians, actors, and artists popularized the look, the kids emulating Dylan, the Beatles, the Stones, everybody. The kids grew out their hair too and brought the revolution right into the living rooms of white middle-class America. My family was no different from anybody else's. In the early mid-70s, when I was 5 or 6, my dad had his own haircut kit and would use his electric clippers to give me and my brothers regulation military haircuts. In turn, the other kids at school made fun of our now old-fashioned hair, and my older brother asked if he could grow his hair longer. My dad said no way, but Mom, defending her kids from ridicule, put her foot down. Our hair got longer. My older brother later told me that this was the first time he had ever seen Mom stand up to Dad about anything. In this way, the women's liberation movement scored a win in our Republican Southern Baptist home, and it was all because of long hair. But then time moved forward, the hippies all grew up, got jobs, consumer capitalism absorbed the symbols and styles of the youth movement and turned them into products and advertising concepts. By the disco era, all meaning and political content had been removed from long hair, and it became just another fashion choice. Long hair on men was rendered meaningless. But you know, these last few years, I'm finding that long hair isn't so meaningless to me. Not now. I look around and I see that the current era in which we are living is by any imaginable standard 10 times worse than the 60s in terms of the fracturing of our politics and culture. Global warming is now literally burning us up. Fascism, with all its attendant foul social ills, racism, sexism, hatred for the les, gay, bi, trans, queer community, book banning, derision of science, anti-intellectualism, and on. Fascism is growing at an alarming rate, threatening our democratic republic itself. It really does seem to be the end of the world. I feel now is a good time for me to stand out a bit, maybe invoke, however so slightly, the rebellious cultural and political ideas of the 1960s. I mean, long hair may very well be meaningless now in any wider cultural sense, but it still has a few faint, good vibrations. I'm trying to channel that. It's a fashion choice, to be sure, but also for me, it is a political choice, especially when you juxtapose how I look with what I preach. I'm Mojo Rising, goddammit. The white suburban worldview with which I was raised has burnt itself out in a fire orgy of SUVs and grandiose self-entitlement, and I don't want anybody confusing me with a clueless, narcissistic, Trump-enabling suburbanite. My long hair, it means fuck you to fascists and we're all in this together to my comrades. Now, I feel like letting my freak flag fly. I'm Ron Reeder, and this has been Ron Reeder Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reeder, again next week for another episode of Ron Reeder Digs the Universe. Give me a head with hair, long beautiful hair, shining, gleaming, streaming, flaxen wax.